Hey guys, what's up? This is Dark Alpha, and welcome back to my quarterback and tight end portion from Fantasy Football Breakdown. I've already done running backs and wide receivers, so go check those out if you haven't yet. So we're going to move right into this, starting it off with quarterback rankings, 6 through 10. Number 10, Russell Wilson. Extremely underrated. I really wanted to put him as a sleeper, but yeah, he's in my top 10, so I can't. I really like him this year. Number 9, Cam Newton. He's really been struggling with the loss of his offensive coordinator, the Chud, now the coach of the Browns, which is one of the reasons why Brandon Whedon's looking so good. The offense does look stale. He just hasn't seemed to get it done. I'm not a big fan of him. I'd recommend avoiding him if you can. At number 8, we got Stafford throwing to Megatron. I think he's going to be great. The only reason I don't have him higher is because the loss of his left tackle, Jeff Backus, to retirement, and they lost their nearly all-pro at pass blocking right tackle, Galaxy Cherilus, and I don't think that will. I think that'll hurt him significantly. The main thing is that the right tackle chairless went to Andrew Luck, who's upgrading everywhere across the board. He's even getting his old offensive coordinator from Stanford. He used to play with all rookies. Now they're all playing with years of experience. They vastly upgraded the offensive line. He's going to be a stud this year. I want him. I'm targeting him everywhere. Number 6, Matt Ryan. When you're throwing to Julio Jones, Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez, dump offs to Steven Jackson, you're going to be a fantasy monster. Here we go, 1 through 5. Most people would believe that the zone read option is dead, and the thing about the 49ers is that their offensive line is so fantastic that they'll absolutely crush it no matter how they run the ball, and that's why Colin Kaepernick is going to be so successful, and that's why I like him at number 5. Number 4, Tom Brady. His demise has been greatly exaggerated. He's a stud. He's going to throw for a ton of points. This time, he's going to be throwing to Danny Amendola, Kembrell Tompkins. I really like him. Make sure you get him on your team, and tight end Zach Sudfeld. Number 3, Peyton Manning. He's got Demaryius Thomas. Great offensive line, great weapons everywhere. He could be the number 1 fantasy quarterback pretty easily. At number 2, Drew Brees. He's always been so great. They hate to run the ball. They love to pass the ball, and Drew Brees has always been a fantasy monster. At number 1, Aaron Rodgers. The reason I have him over Drew Brees is that I feel he can throw it just as much and just as well as Drew Brees, but he also can pick up those critical rushing yards that can help turn the tide of a close game. And then mid-round sleepers, we got Jay Cutler and Michael Vick. And then over on my late-round sleepers, we got E.J. Manuel, Brandon Whedon, Carson Palmer. Cutler's been looking great in Mark Trestman's pass-happy offense. He's going to score a lot of points. Brandon Marshall's going to catch nearly everything to him. Michael Vick has been looking absolutely fantastic in Chip Kelly's offense. I hate Michael Vick. I don't want him on my teams, but I don't think I'll be able to avoid him as a QB2 in the very late rounds. And in deeper leagues for late round sleepers, E.J. Manuel is going to score a lot of, Cam Newton and Robert Griffin III as far as scrambling for goal line backs. He'll score some touchdowns. Brandon Whedon's been looking great. I always hate the Browns, but I think Brandon Whedon's going to really do well. And Carson Palmer, Bruce Arians has the things for coaxing good performance out, reviving careers for Larry Fitzgerald. I think Palmer will score a lot of points as well. So that covers it for my quarterbacks. Let's move into tight ends. It's an odd year for tight ends this year. You got Jimmy Graham at number 1, and then everybody else pretty much is a sleeper or a potential bust. So you got to be really careful with who you take. Number 6 through 11, I got Owen Daniels at number 11. I wanted to include him, not just do 6 through 10. Owen Daniels is kind of weird because the Texans love to trot out, 2, 3 tight end backs, and he's just so inconsistent sometimes. But he's Owen Daniels who's going to score points. Kyle Rudolph, he scored a ton of touchdowns. I've looked at the stats. They've never replicated that ever in the history of tight ends. So he looks like he's in for some regression, most likely. And then Greg Olsen, Panthers, will catch goal lines. Then here we go. One of my favorite sleepers, Rob Hausler. He was a sleeper, but I wanted to throw him in as my top 10 because I want to get him on my team. He's going to do great for Bruce Arians. He loves his tight ends. He's looking fantastic. They're going to get him the ball. And if you need a tight end later rounds, get him on your team. But Jermichael Finley, Greg Jennings is gone. Jordy Nelson's hurt. Randall Cobb's kind of hurt too. Somebody's going to catch a lot of touchdowns. He's been having a great camp, and, he'll be good. But number 6, your man, this is the person you want on your team. I can't say enough about Jordan Cameron. The Chud and Norv had always loved throwing the tight ends. This guy's going to have a career year. Think Jimmy 2.0. He's, I'm targeting him every league I can get him in. I really like Jordan Cameron, so put some effort in getting him, and you'll be successful. Moving into 1 through 5, I'm just going to cover this kind of short because I don't really like these 1 through 5 tight ends this year. Gronkowski, God, who knows what he could do? He could be the number 1 tight end in fantasy, or he could not play at all, and I hate that sort of inconsistency for a mid-round pick. And then Vernon Davis, for some reason, Colin Kaepernick doesn't like throwing it to him. Tony Gonzalez, fantastic tight ends, but he's so old he could fall off a cliff at any moment. Jason Witten, getting up there in age. Tony Romo, yeah, he's still one of the best tight ends in the league, but I wouldn't want to draft him. And number 1, Jimmy Graham, so far above every other tight end in the league that he's number 1, and he's been going in the second round for a reason. One of the reasons that I've been taking tight ends extremely late, I'm talking like rounds 12 through 15, is because of these great sleepers everywhere this year. I got Dustin Keller, who's been catching a ton of balls from Ryan Tannehill. Brandon Myers, Eli loves throwing it. Think about Brandon Myers. He caught a lot of balls last year from Carson Palmer, and that's why they brought him in. But the Giants' offensive coordinator hasn't really thrown more than 700 yards to a tight end pretty much ever, so there's some hesitation there. Kobe Fleener's poised for a breakout season with his old coach, Pep Hamilton, and the new scheme the Colts are running, catching it from Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck's going to make somebody a star. It might as well be Kobe. And then my favorite sleeper, Zach Sudfeld on the New England Patriots. He's been running with a first-team offense. They're calling him Baby Gronk. If you're sitting there in the late rounds and you don't have a tight end, or if you sit in the middle rounds and there's not very much on the board, don't be afraid to wait on a tight end and just take a sleeper like Zach Sudfeld, who might be the number 1 fantasy quarterback, because Tom Brady can do that for people. So there's my tight ends. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I got another one planned, which is a draft strategy breakdown explaining why who I draft, when I draft, and using the site tools available to you to the maximum effectiveness. I've had a lot of success using it, and I'm excited to bring it to you guys. So make sure to sub so you don't miss this and all my subsequent videos. I got lots of content coming. I'm probably going to have a fantasy weekly series as well, so if you want to keep in touch because you had a successful draft, make sure to sub. Don't miss this. Again, this is Dark Alpha. Thanks for watching.